Well, when you're hog hunting, sometimes you get your hogs a different way, a way that's not normal. Church next door got irritated with the hogs tearing up their property, especially in the little park that they'd built. And so they called in a trapper. And this young lady, she's like 24 years old, came in and set up a trap next door. And she's been working on it. And she gave me a call this morning and let me know that she had caught some sows and some little ones. So I'm going to have some hogs to put in the freezer. And I didn't even have to bother going out and hunting for them. I did like hunting for them, but certainly not going to turn this down. This is free meat in the freezer. Now I'm not going to go over there right now because I don't want to disturb them. So I'm just going to film from my side of the fence line. See if I can get some shots of them. All right. There's the trap right over there. And you can see the hogs huddled up over there to the side. So I'm going to wait for the trapper to come in, and then, well, looks like she's arriving now. And then once she calls me, then I'm going to come over there and pick up the hogs. So she's going to drive over there, and she's got to do some testing on the hogs. She'll go ahead and put them down and then do some blood testing. Yeah, they see the truck coming now. So while our trapper is doing what she needs to do, I've got a couple of ice chests laid out here, and I'm going to put some gallon jugs in here, frozen, in order to keep the meat nice and cool. Once I get the hogs skinned and quartered up, then I'm going to put them in here. That way I can take my time on processing them. Okay, ice is all loaded up in the ice chest. Tractor's sitting over there ready to go. Gabby's doing what she's got to do, and I'm just waiting on a phone call. All right, I got the word. Time to go get them. All right, I got a front end loader full of hogs. Fixing to take them over to the back side of the property and field dress them and skin them out, quarter them up. Alright, so on the back side of my acreage where the vultures can come in, I'm going to lower them down and put them on the ground here, and then one at a time I'll raise them, move them off to the right, and then I'll field dress them. After that I'll take them back up to the barn and skin them out. I spared you guys that mess. I got them all field dressed. Turns out there were 7 little ones, and of course the 2 sows. We thought there was just a half dozen little ones, but there was an extra in there. Man, I am puffing and puffing like a old fat man. I'm gonna get these back to the barn, wash them off with a hose, and then start skinning. Okay, I'm not gonna have much time to rest. Sun's getting up, but I'm gonna keep these hogs under this big old oak tree here. Got a little bit of a breeze, that's going to help a lot. I've washed off the first little piggy. I'm going to go all the way down through there, get them all good and clean, get the dirt, mud off of them. They are very muddy, because when I start skinning, I don't want that mud anywhere near the meat. So like I said, I've got the first one cleaned off. I'm going to clean the rest of them, then I'm going to start hanging hogs. I'll also wash out the inside cavity. That'll go a long ways in cooling the meat down. I want the meat to stay as cool as possible. They're cleaning up good. All right, hogs are cleaned off. So it's a group effort over here. And the rooster's calling the hen every time he spots something for her to eat. Looks like I washed a bug up out of the grass there. Like I said, they're all washed off. The inside cavity's cleaned out. Still got a good breeze. That's good. And I'm gonna hang them up in this oak tree right next to me and start skinning out, and then quartering them up and dropping them in an ice chest. A lot of work ahead of me. All right, I hooked up a electric winch up in the oak tree. So I got the first hog hung. Got some weather wrap down here on the ground just so I don't start muddying things up over here. So I'm going to skin this hog out and quarter it up and start throwing it off into the ice chest here and just work my way all the way down through there till I get them all done. I need to keep those hogs in the shade, and I'm keeping water sprayed on them pretty regular too. All right, this one's all skinned. Now it's just a matter of quartering it up into pieces and getting it in the ice chest. This part goes pretty quick. Just 1/4. I've already got another shoulder in the ice chest here. I'll take the hind legs off, then I'll split these ribs in half, get that in there, go to the next big one. All right, after you're done, all you're gonna have is a head and spine, and that's about it. I'll drop that head off of there and grab another hog. All right, I had to switch knives. One of these Mossy Oak Ozark, I believe this is one of those Ozark knives, surprisingly sharp. So I'm gonna show you real quick how to do this. Just spread these front quarters out like that. There's no joint. And you just run that knife right down through there. That front quarter comes right off. Do the same thing to the other side. It's a lot easier if you got a second person to help hold that leg out. But I don't have a second person. All right, now I'll raise that up, get those hindquarters off. You want to get your work area up close to you. That way you don't overwork yourself. Because this is a lot of work as it is. That ball joint is right on either side here. What I'm going to do is just cut straight in right across the pelvis right here. And you will go right into that ball joint. There it is, right there. And what I'll do is I'll cut that ball joint clear, and I'll let all the muscle hold on to this hind quarter onto the rest of the body. Once that ball joint is free, then I can go in there and cut it off. You want to get a good grip, especially on big hogs, because that ham is going to be heavy. Just like that. Yeah, some butchers may be out there cringing, but it's late spring and it's not terribly cool out. And I've got a total of 9 hogs to butcher. Luckily, 7 of them are small. So I don't have time to pedal around. So I'm doing this as fast as possible. And a lot of this is going to be cut up into sausage anyways. If you're making this into sausage, you don't have to do any fancy cuts. You just debone it and grind it. Add your seasoning. Again, I'm going to work around that ball joint. Looks like it's free. Give me a good halt. Try to get a good halt. My hands are starting to get tired. All right. There we go. All right. I'm going to get this this belly meat. All right. So I use this for fresh side. Chunk that up and fry it up just like you would bacon. Tastes really, really good. Find that rib. There's a rib right down in there. Come over here. You want to be careful though, because you got your tenderloin on both sides of this backbone. So I'm going to come right in here. Come straight in. Cut down. Looks like I still missed a rib. There we go. There we go. That's all that belly meat. Do the other side. Come in from the inside. See what happens. Might make it a little easier on me. them up. Find that rib. Yeah, I can see the rib from this side. Cut right down the rib. And then where the rib curves, back up to the sternum. Just like that. Now tenderloin. Tenderloin is on the inside of the backbone, just up above from the pelvis. It's held best in two spots, down low and up high. So I'll cut that, then I'll grip the tenderloin with my hand. You can wiggle your thumb right in there, and then cut down alongside of it. There you go. You've got a strip of tenderloin. Other side, same thing. Just cut right down that vertebrae. Peel that tenderloin back and cut as you go. Make sure you get it all the way down to the bottom. And I'll trim it up later. If I left any meat, I'll go ahead and carve the meat off, and then I'm going to take the sawzall, or I'll split right up the sternum, and then I'll come in down here, and I'll work my way right up the side of the vertebrae, and come over, and then I'll have the ribs. Very good smoked. Even though there's not just a ton of meat on these wild hogs, it's still really good. It's worth saving in my opinion. Can't forget the tenderloin. Alright, tenderloin's going to start somewhere up here about the shoulder. Just cut across. Find that vertebrae, cutting right down the side of that vertebrae. And you can feel the knife clicking on the ribs as you go. And you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Then I'm going to come in right above the ribs and shoot straight for the vertebrae. Just bumping that knife right along the top of those ribs. Then what you can do is just work that knife into that corner, pull that right out of there. I'm calling this tenderloin. It's a pork loin, what a lot of people call backstrap on deer. Tenderloin's on the inside, and your pork loin is on the outside. Alright, there's the pork loin. Got one more on the other side. Again, find the top of the ribs, cut straight in, cutting right on top of those ribs. Okay, another pork loin. I'll trim off some of this meat down here for sausage. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for this neck roast. All I'm going to do is go in there just like I did across the top of those vertebrae. I'm going to go right along the side of the vertebrae and just peel that meat right off that neck. It's a lot of meat there. No sense in missing it. A lot of good sausage there. These wild hogs, a lot of times you may have to mix a little beef fat with it. But this hog is so fat, I don't think I'm going to need to mix any beef fat with it. This thing has just got lots of fat. Just take that neck roast right off of there. It's all going to be sausage, except for these ribs. Try to keep the hair off the meat as much as possible. Okay, looks pretty clean. I'm going to get that sawzall, cut these ribs off. You all probably don't want to see that. But when I do it, I want to come in right in here stay right along the vertebrae, and then come over. Also, I want to put a cut right up through the sternum, throw it in the ice chest. Alright, those cuts are made. Normally I don't use a knife this size. Normally I like a knife that's not much longer than my finger. That way when I'm cutting around I can feel really well. But this thing is so sharp, and I already dulled the other knife. I'm not going to sit around and sharpen it, so I'm just going to grab the next knife and keep going. It's hanging by a thread. Alright, so there's a rack of ribs right there. There's the other one. That's all there is to processing one of these wild hogs. Now the little ones, I'm not going to mess with doing all this. All I'm going to do is skin them out, put them in the freezer, because I'll smoke them whole and then I'll cook them down to pulled pork. It's not worth my time trying to skin out and process and quarter up tiny little hogs, you know, that are maybe 15 pounds. So anyways, hope you guys learned something from this. I'm going to take this hog down, start dealing with the little ones. And I'll catch you guys later. I'll probably come back and do a video where we smoke the hog and cook it down to pulled pork. It is delicious. I mean, everybody will go nuts over it. So we'll do that another time. All right, I'm going to show you guys how we do the little pigs. We're going to put these in shrink wrap poultry bags. First you take your pig out, make sure the pig's nice and clean. These pigs are a little bit too big to put in a poultry bag whole. So what we're going to have to do is cut them in half and fit them in there. I'm just going washing the hog down real quick, make sure it's good and clean. That looks good. Got a little gland right there. Trim that off. All right. Pelvis is all split open, looks good. Now, since it won't go in one poultry bag, what I'll do is I'll split it right in half. They split pretty quickly. Just like that. Okay. Now we're going to put this in a poultry bag. The rest of the cavity is going to go inside the ribs here. That. To get it to fold up real good, I go in here and cut right through the ball joint on the hip. Make sure you go ahead and cut all the way through the ham so it folds, so the leg folds all the way over like that without any problem. Go on the side of that ball joint, cut it right down through there, through the ham. And it folds up just like that. And we drop it right inside the rib cage. Then run a straw down into the shrink wrap bag. And I'm going to give it a little spin. Mom is going to zip tie it. We're going to get it fairly tight on there, just so it doesn't slip, because it will slip when it starts getting in that hot water. Drop my hand off just a little bit. Alright, so we drop the poultry bag in there. The straw's going to let that air escape out, and I just push this down. Just like that. A lot of times you'll hear that air coming out of that straw pretty quickly. Then you just pull the poultry bag out, swing it over here. There's a little bit more air coming out. I'm going to pull this and cinch that zip tie all the way down, just like that. And then you have a shrunk wrapped little hog ready for smoking. Absolutely perfect. Now I can throw this in the freezer, and that's the way that goes. Super easy. Okay, after all the little hogs were put up, now we're doing is setting up 3 different stations and just deboning the other pigs, the larger sows. Making a lot of sausage meat. I've already cut up the ribs, got the ribs in the ice chest ready to go. And the rest of this is going to be sliced up where it'll fit into the grinder and make some sausage.